So as we continue on here, as expected, battlefield conditions change. So too must learning. Over-reliance on book solutions in itself constitute a shortfall in training because it minimizes the importance of the unique aspects of each situation. Blind faith in standard operating procedures doesn't even constitute being well trained. This is something that when I was running training, we caused complete mayhem on the guys that were going through training. And anybody that went through training when I was running it right now has a smile on their face because they know that they were put into scenarios that were completely confusing, distracting, disturbing, mayhem, chaos. It was just crazy. And the reason we did that is because we wanted to test their minds, not their standard operating procedures, not their shooting capabilities. We wanted to test the minds of the leaders. Could the leaders be in that chaos, step back from that chaos, either physically or mentally or both, get an assessment of everything that was happening, and then say, okay, this is what we need to do to get out of the situation or improve the situation or win the situation. What the other thing that it requires, not only is that the leaders step back and have the ability to step back, but the NCOs, again, these non-commissioned officers, must love initiative and must hold what ground they have to the utmost. It often happens that a sergeant or even a corporal may decide a battle by boldness with which he seizes a bit of ground and holds it. So we tried to inspire the younger guys, the new guys, a guy that had no experience in the SEAL teams, but we wanted that guy to go, you know what? I'm going to get in this room, or I'm going to take this building, or I'm going to get to this rooftop, I'm going to get this good position. And not to do it as a rogue element, but within the confines of what the strategy was and what the plan was. Right. And that's where you end up with a unit that works together very well. And one of the things that I remember of where people get locked into these, you can see it sometimes in MMA fights. You'll see a fighter that's got a good, ground game, or all he's trying to do is take the person down, using all their energy, just keeps trying to clinch, keeps shooting shots, and they're getting their shot stuffed, but they can't adapt. Mm-hmm. They don't have the skills, or they don't have the mindset to adapt. Mm. I remember one scenario where we had what's called a bunkered machine gun position. This is in a training event. So there's a long hallway. This is in an urban environment. There's a big giant building. This is all fake, by the way. But there's a big giant building. And in the end of the hallway, we've got a bad guy who's in a bunkered position. So he's in behind tables and drawers and concrete. And he's got a fully automatic paintball gun. And the SEALs are trying to go down the hallway to get him. And they're shooting at him, but this guy's in a bunkered position. They can't hit him. He's hidden. And so every time they come out the hallway to try and move towards him, he just mows them down. And first it's one guy, then it's another guy, then 3 guys, then it's 6 guys. Then it's 8 guys are laying in the hallway. Because every time they get shot with paintball, if they get shot a few times, we're putting them down. Like, okay, you're dead. Just lay down. Stay there. You're dead. Stay there. You're dead. Okay, you're dead too. They can't move. They just got to lay there.
Yeah.
So I go to the guy that's running it, and it was a platoon chief. And I walked over and I said, "Hey, chief, how's this going to work out?" And he said, I got to get these guys moving down this hallway. And I said, "Do you think there might be another way?" And he kind of looked at me, and he realized that, yeah, there's another way. He sent a couple guys back out of the building. They walked down the outside of the building to the window where the guy was bunkered in, threw a couple grenades in there, jumped in, killed the guy. But the mindset wasn't there to have the flexibility to do that. Right. And that's what we were training, because I never wanted to see guys get locked into a situation. Right. That's why all training, needs to expand your brain. It needs to expand your mind. It shouldn't constrain. Constrain your ideas.
Yeah, it almost seems like that would be a different type of training even. Almost like you could like if someone's forcing the double leg or something, they're not getting it. He should have been trained in other takedowns. If in fact taking the guy down was a strategy, he should be trained in other stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe some judo stuff or something.
No doubt about it. And this is one thing that's interesting, and I think that's the evolution is you're hearing, you know, about Conor McGregor right now, and I hate to jump on the bandwagon, but, you know, you see him doing like this movement type drills, which is really good because what is that doing? That's training you for these weird situations, you know? And that's another, like with training jiu-jitsu with Jeff Glover, he puts himself in these weird positions and does these crazy things that when it happens to him, he just has better reaction because he's used to being in these strange positions.
Yeah.
And when we work with corporations and work with companies, we'll do role playing with these CEOs or mid-level managers, and we'll play, you know, Leif and I will play the unruly old, you know, job site foreman that knows more than you do, and how are you going to deal with them? And we put them in these hostile situations and do things and say things and that throw them for a loop, that make them uncomfortable, that they don't know the solution to, and they have to think on their feet. And that's one of the, you know, one of the pieces of training that I always like to go back to is how can we do things that surprise people in training so that we exercise their brain, not what they know. We got to get what you know.
Right.
You got to train what you know. You got to practice what you know. How do we train what you don't know, what you don't expect?
Yeah. It's like it's like almost like a level deeper in the training. Like it's real beneficial. I think Henner guys talk about this. Training jiu-jitsu, a good way to train for self-defense is train with a real athletic guy who's a white belt. So he won't do predictable things that you've been training every day. He'll do unpredictable things where you know, it won't be super easy. And at the same time, it won't be something that you have full knowledge of and full experience of.
If you get the 280-pound powerhouse that shows up to the gym that's never trained before, the first time you train with him, it's going to be harder to catch him than it will 3 months later. No, maybe 3 months it'll be about the same. But like a month into it, where he kind of knows what he's supposed to try and do, but you know exactly what he's going to do, then it's easy to catch him. It's easier. So you're right. It definitely is a transitional time, and it is good to train with people that you have no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah, and it's not even to say that and it gives you experience with these unorthodox things for sure, but that's not what you're talking about as far as what's being trained. What's being trained is not to be so dogmatic in your actions and your plan. Is to this sounds really cliche. It's to expect the unexpected. Yeah. Right? But it trains you to think that way.
Well, it's true. And I don't know if this is cliche or not. I'm pretty sure it is. But I say this and people kind of freak out when I say it because I'm like a structured, disciplined person. But I say it all the time. Free your mind. You know, you got to free your mind. That's what, when I talk about this stuff, I hate when I find myself in a situation where my mind is not free to see what's going on and I can't detach from what's known and go and enter the unknown and deal with the unknown.
Yeah.